Hey guys! So we're going to be talking to you about Anchor real quickly. If you haven't heard of it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast.
First of all, it's free, and I don't understand how someone wouldn't want something that's free.
I know. And there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer.
Anchor distributes your podcast for you. It goes straight to Spotify and Apple, and you don't have to move a finger. It just goes if you set it up that way.
Oh, not only that, but you can also make money from your podcast. Get your own money from making your own podcast with no minimum listenership.
So it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
So if you're interested in making your own podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, that is anchor.fm to get started.
Yay!
Yay!
Anchor. What do we say?
I don't know.
We don't ever have a good beginning to start with.
Okay, so today's going to be a special beginning because we're not going to start with hi, hey, because that's basic. We're going to start off with saying, Samantha wants a pickle. I'm not. I'm going to keep that in. So I'm Karuna.
I'm Cindy.
And I'm Sumeva, and I'm the one who really wants a pickle right now.
So we're going to do an episode about body positivity. We're going to talk about how our different body shapes affected us in society. We're going to start off, as always, with our personal stories, and then we will get into ways you can cope with maybe body dysmorphia or stuff along those lines.
I just want to start off with, people always spread that body positivity, you should love yourself, but it's like an internal struggle with people. You can tell other people to love themselves, but you can't do it yourself, which I feel like is a struggle that I personally deal with a lot. And I know I'm not the only one who struggles with this, because I remember watching a video from Best Dressed, and she touched a little bit on this topic about body positivity, and she was like, I do feel that people can't love themselves even when they spread the idea of body positivity. And I saw a bunch of comments agree with her on that. And I was like, you know what? I do feel that way. I do feel like this confliction internally.
For those of you who don't know, and you probably don't know this because I've never mentioned it before, but I am pretty short for my age, and I am 5 foot in high school. Yeah, so 5 foot is really short compared to the average height in the United States, which is 5'4", and it's so crazy to me because sometimes I'm like, it's just 4 inches. Like, the number's so tiny, but the actual difference is so big. That does not make sense. I'm very insecure about it, and literally the other day I had a meltdown about my height, and yeah, so I agree with Cindy on what she said about how people try to spread body positivity, but at the same time they are aware and they're about their own bodies. They're not positive about their own bodies, if that makes sense. So I agree with that because I have to be honest, I'm not. I'm really aware of my height. So it's always hard because every day I compare myself to other people or things. Every morning when I wake up, I always go to the bathroom, and then I'm standing next to the sink and I can see the towel rack, and I always compare my height to the towel rack, and I'm always like, does it look like I grew a little bit taller? And most likely the answer is no, and it really affects me, and it kind of dims my mood for the whole day because I get all of a sudden so sad in the morning itself. So yeah.
I also kind of struggled with the idea of my height, because even though I'm 5'5", which is taller than the average of 5'4", I still feel very short compared to the rest of my family because I'm still the shortest one. My sister would taunt me all the time. My self-esteem would just compress. I've always felt that being tall was better. My ideal height was probably 5'9" or 5'10". I just wanted to be super tall. I'm not exactly sure why, but I guess I wanted that feeling that I was far much taller than my sister. When I got a checkup for my back because one leg was a whole inch longer than the other one, the doctor had to check my height growth as well. So she had me take an x-ray of my arm, my hand, my left hand, to see my growth pattern. And she told me that whatever I had wouldn't affect me much anymore longer because my growth was declining. And I just got really sad because that means I just stay at this height and I'm still not as tall as the rest of my family. And so I also had a bit of a meltdown. I feel like this internal conflict that people have within themselves, it isn't obviously caused by them. It's because someone told them something was wrong with them because they didn't meet someone else's standards. But obviously it just depends on your own at that point. No one should set standards for yourself except yourself. And I know that sounds super cheesy and cliche, but it is true. And it's difficult to get over and to set your own standards for yourself and tell yourself that you are your own standard, and whatever you are, you should appreciate and like. Because you continue to compare yourself with others because those other people are the standards that people set for you. And you're still trying to reach them, but you can't do that. I mean, everything is usually genetic at that point, right? Or unless you get surgery, but not everyone's gonna get that. I'm not going against surgery. You can have surgery if you want. It's all about confidence at the end of it.
So on Cindy's topic of confidence, I want to talk about my relation to body positivity. I have a very typical body, and it's like what society says is typically body standards. Like, I am 5'4". It's the average height in the United States. I also have an hourglass, and I'm skinny. And like, this is like what society says females should be. So a lot of the times I don't complain about my body whenever my friends are complaining, because I know they're going to say something like, well, your body is perfect, there's no reason for you to complain. Now, my reason for complaining is not that my body is imperfect, because I acknowledge, like, I have the standards that people in society say are feminine and stuff. A lot of the times I'm on social media and I'm seeing like people in bikini pictures, and if it's a woman who is plus size, people in the comments always go, yes, queen, go for it, show them your confidence. And it's beautiful that they're showing off their confidence. Now, if someone who was extremely skinny would do the same thing and post a picture in their bikini, I look at those comments and they say stuff like, wow, I was gonna eat today, but never mind. It's the backhanded comments like that I really hate, and it's stuff like that I have to deal with. That's what I deal with. What happens to me is nobody acknowledges like my pain. I have to deal with society telling me to hide my body, and I don't like that, so it takes away my confidence.
I agree. I feel like there's a confliction between, the recent positivity for plus size women who are more curvier, are just like they have a rounder shape, and then like skinny people. I remember seeing many individuals, male and female, who would get attacked for being too skinny, or they were called too skinny, and people would tell them, oh, you have an eating disorder, or you're anorexic and all. I'm not exactly sure how to feel, because it just conflicts the whole idea of body positivity, which is centralized around upbringing plus size men and women rather than skinnier individuals as well. And I remember a friend of mine told me, one of my other friends told my other friend, that's confusing, that she was skinny, and that skinny friend, she didn't really feel okay with the word skinny. It was an uncomfortable word for her to use, because I'm guessing because of all this criticism that skinny people get attacked with, when there should really be body positivity inclusion for them as well. And she was basically like, saying someone is skinny is the same thing as telling someone that they're fat. And calling someone fat shouldn't be an insult anymore. It's really just a descriptive word. It's just been used as its negative connotation.
Both of you mostly talked about skinnier people, and I'm going to move aside from that and talk about plus size people. So this isn't just about plus size, it's actually about both. And I just want to put it out there that I don't fall under that category, so I don't know anything about what they go through. It's just what I perceive through social media. I was watching this YouTube video, and this YouTuber was going through a body change. She was a little bit on the, I wouldn't say plus side, but just a little bit, she wasn't skinny. She was going through this body change, and she was saying in this video, now she's like, I guess she could be classified as skinny. Okay, so in the video, she was saying how before she started her fitness process and started becoming, more aware of her like nutrition and try to take care of her body and stuff, she would always do dances, like she just dance, she would, twerk, just do the normal stuff that most people do. And she said that while she was doing it, people would always be like, "You go, girl," or like, "Yes, you're so good," and like stuff like that. But then once she started losing weight, she was like, she would do the same dances, she would still twerk, she'd do everything the same. But now she'd be called a hoe, and she would be called, it sucks.
I feel like that also ties with the sexualization of female bodies a lot. Not saying that men don't get sexualized either. There's a lot of sexualization and fetishization within many different female body types, which is very real, and it gets hidden and tied into other things a lot. It's really difficult to get rid of.
On the topic of sexualization of female and males' bodies, I want to talk a little bit about what the stereotype for the perfect male or the perfect female body is. Because when people say, "Oh my gosh, she's so pretty," to like a person who's never seen that female, they're automatically going to think something like, okay, she might be short, she might have a bigger chest, she might have a skinny tummy or an hourglass, just stuff like that. And then if it were to be male, someone may think, okay, so he must be muscular, he must be tall, he must have facial hair, or just stuff like that. And I think it's really stupid that if someone were to go, yes, this person's pretty, the automatic image of a good-looking person in your mind comes to be either one of those. And I don't like how people need to fulfill what society says is the perfect body, if that makes sense. I don't like that.
People set their own standards, and women and men are expected to reach them, but sometimes it's just not possible, like literally not possible, or they make the choice that they don't want to, and that's okay.
I feel like for me, it was mostly when I was younger and still in middle school and at the end of fifth grade, fifth grade, but I always struggled with like being on the heavier side a little bit. And it was like people were so comfortable with hanging on the idea and adding comments about my body when I didn't even ask for their opinion. They just said it and thought I was comfortable with that. And that really annoyed me as a child. It also made me really sad. And I still remember a lot of it. Like, I remember it was just a simple school photo picture of my first day of 5th or 6th grade, or it was 4th. I don't remember, but it was like very young. And this woman just had the audacity to comment, "Cindy looks like she's about to throw up." And my mom, she didn't even like consider the idea of like how hurtful that would be. She took it as a joke and she was like, haha, to that woman on the comment. And I remember reading that in a public place and I just started crying. And my mom would not admit to being wrong and that it hurt me. She completely ignored the fact, and that just like, that kind of cut deeper, you know?
Did your mom post it on like Instagram or something?
It was Facebook.
Oh.
So like, yeah. And everyone would just like, because my parents, they kind of enforced the idea that it was okay to tell me that I was chubbier or fatter, which made, you know, like other people think that it was okay for them to say that as well, and that it wouldn't hurt me because my parents said that and they thought it was okay. But I also like really held it in, and I only started to show my emotions later on in like 6th and 7th grade, but it would like really hurt me because I was young then. I was in primary or elementary. Yeah, it was like every time I met someone new, they would tell me that. And I just remember like comparing myself to others a lot, being compared to my friends, especially my sister, because my sister was like very skinny. You would tell her, she's very pretty, you know, your daughter's so pretty. And it'd just be like a skip over me sort of thing. And she's cute as well, but it'd just be mostly pinpointed to my sister, you are very pretty. And it'd just be like, hello, to me. And I just got the idea that I was very ugly. And I kind of had like this fatphobic internal confliction within myself. But I would still promote the idea that plus size women are beautiful when I couldn't acknowledge that in myself. Like, I've changed a lot. I changed a lot if you know me in real life. But back then I was just on the heavier side and I just couldn't accept myself for who I was. And I constantly do this sometimes, I will admit to it. I would look at my legs a lot because I knew that part was like especially fat, and I thought, I was just so self-conscious of myself. And I would slouch a lot as well because I also had really broad shoulders. I have really broad shoulders. So I thought slouching would help that. But no, it just made me look even more less confident. Just, it was a bad time.
Back to comparing with like siblings, I'm going back to height as well, but like very briefly. My sister, she is 5'5" in height, and as I said earlier, I'm 5'. So, I mean, I would love to be 5'5" in height, but it just annoyed me because I was looking at someone who was 5'5", and she is my sister. So we have the same parents, and it's just like, how come she got those genetics and I got like the bad ones, And it's so weird. Like, I don't know where she gets those genes from because both of my parents are pretty short as well. But the thing is, I'm the shortest in my family. So I'm like always comparing myself to everyone in my family and in my household. So it does suck comparing yourself to your siblings.
And you don't just start comparing yourself to your siblings by yourself sometimes. It's usually someone who starts it. Like, it could be your parents, grandparents, anyone, which sucks. But I also want to add on to the idea that even though someone might meet your standards, you can't tell them that's unfair, that you want to be even more blah, 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 or that you want to change that because you are perfect in my eyes. I feel like that's so crap. Sorry, or do you want me to bleep me out, Kruta? I feel like that's so bullshit because it's like, let people decide and have their own standards. Just because they meet yours doesn't mean that they don't meet theirs, and that they can change their body if they want to sometimes. I mean, of course, you should still love yourself for some factors, but change yourself if you want. You can change your weight, you can change anything, it just depends on you. Set your own standards for yourself. Don't let someone else set standards for you.
Yeah.
I want to continue the conversation more on ways you can cope with having body issues, like when you're not living your body, to help like others. If you're in my case and you just don't like how social media is right now, then I would say try going on like Instagram, TikTok, anything that you can like post comments, like Facebook, Twitter, anything. And whenever someone posts something like their body and like they're all happy, they feel all hyped up and everything, in the comments, I want you to go and say something like king, queen, or like whatever gender, and just say stuff like, yes, you get them, you go, and just hype them up, because that's like how you can help society build itself up. There's no need to tear someone down, even if like you in your head don't think they look attractive, because your preference would be rather a different body shape. I still want you to go in those comments and hype them up. But if you are the one who is struggling with the body issues, try maybe, like, I'm going to continue on the topic of social media. Try staying in social media and like maybe take pictures and try finding a community within that platform. Like, I know in TikTok, I spend a lot of time on TikTok, but you can try finding the body positivity community, and a lot of your hashtags can be to do with that, so that way more people in your comments are hyping you up, and you might feel better after doing this, because I've seen a lot of people on my For You page doing this, and they get all hyped up and they feel even more happy. So maybe try this and it might work for you.
Yeah, and if you have nothing good to say, just don't say it. Like, no one asked or needed to hear it.
Another tip, if you are dealing with body issues, I would say, and this is again like for social media, because I feel like that's the place where most negativity comes in, but if you are, then I would say just ignore them, because I know it can be really hard, but it's really the best thing you can do, because those people that are commenting, they don't know anything about you. They don't know you, who you are, and even if you are like a YouTuber or like an influencer, it may seem like they know you, but they don't. They don't know you for who you truly are. Oh, but if it is someone in your personal life that is saying it and it's not on, like, it's not social media, they're probably someone that's toxic, whether they mean it or not. So drop them go listen to our episode about friendships if it's a friend. And yeah.
Cut them off.
The advice I'm going to give you is if someone is bothering you in real life about your body and telling you stuff like it's not pretty or something, what you can do is watch a couple seasons of Criminal Minds, learn how to properly dispose of a body, and then do the deed. Go for it.
Oh my god,
You're going to stay legal.
Minor Talk is promoting this.
No, we do not promote this. Guys, do not listen to Karuna.
Yes, we are.
No, we do not.
Yes.
No, we do not.
I remember I was always so scared of the fitness test when I was younger because we would have to be in a line and we'd have to take our weight one by one. I was so scared that someone would look at my weight because I was a lot heavier, because I was a lot bigger and taller. But also, like, I remember one day in 4th grade, after I had taken my weight and everything on the scale, the one guy behind me and the one guy in front of me, they started laughing. And they were like, I bet you weighed like 200 pounds on the scale. My whole mood was so shattered by that. And I just remember going in, taking a whole math test. And then, they thought it was a joke, but it was bad. And after the math test, I just started crying. I was bawling. And I had a project to do, but I was crying.
You have a right.
Like, crying doesn't help, but yeah, that wasn't right. But I don't understand what made them say that, especially in 4th grade. Kids are so mean. But I don't know why they said that. And I just started bawling. And my friends were really supportive. They were like, oh no, why are you crying? Why are you crying? No, what's wrong? And I didn't have the heart to tell them because I didn't know how to tell someone. I didn't know how to comfortably tell someone and admit that I was fat because I didn't want to acknowledge that in myself yet.
I have my own experience with this scale. This scale was like the monster to me because I remember during, I think it was 3rd grade, I had to do the same test as Cindy, and I went up on the scale and I was underweight. I wasn't the weight I was supposed to be, and some girl looked at it and she goes, "You only weigh 70 pounds? What do you even eat? Let me see your lunchbox." It's not nice. Like, if I were to weigh 150, she would not have said anything. The fact that she said that to me, I don't like it. There's no need to be mean about someone's body weight. Like, they can't control that typically.
I was always underweight growing up, and I am still underweight because I'm very short, so I always hated it, and I probably was this type of person, so I apologize. But I hated when other people would ask me what my weight was, even though I did that, and I stopped, obviously, because I know that's not right anymore, and most people would say no, and I appreciate, like, that's their choice. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I remember in 4th grade, a few of my friends were like, my weight is blah, 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 and they'd be like, I told you my weight, you can tell me yours. Come on, I already told you. But that was their choice to tell me. But a piece of advice for, I guess feeling better about yourself. A few months ago, I just stopped weighing myself. I just stopped weighing myself. Kind of helped, actually.
Yeah. Don't let the scale define you.
Yeah. Because I would be obsessed with weighing myself.
Like,
and I still see it in, some people with the obsession of weighing themselves every day after doing one small thing, maybe eating or drinking water, or just walking around. But it was something like that. Because of my weight on the scale, it would just determine if I ate or not sometimes as well. But yeah.
Alright, I have one last story to tell, and this one kind of annoyed me a little. I went to the doctor's office pretty recently to get my normal checkup, and the nurse, she was checking my blood, and then she checked my weight and my height, and she's writing everything down, and then I go into my little room, and I'm waiting for the doctor, because they all of us spend an hour for some reason to get to our rooms. But she finally comes in, and she starts talking to me are you eating your vegetables? Are you eating food? Are you doing this? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing all this. And she goes, okay, well, the thing is, you weigh less than you did last time you came. And she asked me, are you eating properly? She straight up asked me if I was anorexic or if I had any eating orders and if I was avoiding food intentionally. And this annoyed me because I can't control my weight. I love food. Cindy can tell you I was on FaceTime with her while I was eating a bunch of cake. I will eat and eat. I cannot control my weight, and it is my doctor. Like, she's supposed to do that. But it's the fact she asked me I was anorexic straight up. I don't like that. That annoyed me.
Yeah, I low-key hate going to the doctor sometimes because I had a checkup with my sister once. I weigh more than my sister, and the nurses thought the scale was broken. I could like hear them whispering, "She weighs more than her sister. Is the scale broken?" I was like, but yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, this is really hard to end because it's about body positivity, which is really broad.
Yeah.
But thank y'all.
Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully.
Thank you as always. And I want to say, if you're having any issues with your body, come to our DMs.
Yeah.
And we will tell you, like, we'll research some stuff and, like, tell you tips you can do.
But yeah, just come to us if you're feeling a little down. We'll hype you up. We'll be your hype man.
Don't worry. We got you.
Woman. Thank
All right,
you.
we love you.
Bye, guys.
We always love
Follow
you.
us on our socials. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
My battery's running out. Thank y'all.